Welcome to our TAP tutoring. TAP stands for Tritons Are Proficient. And what we're shooting for here is that if you don't do well on a test, that's okay. We come in, we relearn the material or learn it in the first place, maybe in some cases, and we retake the test to raise our grade. So that's why you're here. It's not a punishment. You didn't do anything wrong. We're just trying to here to help you raise your grade. So glad you made the decision to make it in today. Just go ahead and take a look at the first question here. And by the way, you'll notice the review is split into two sides, two columns. The left side is be the problem that I will do to show you kind of how to do it, and then I won't do the one on the right side, the second column. I won't do that one for you because that's where I want you to try it and make sure that you know how to do this. But I'll always show you how to do it first and then give you a try. All right, so it says select two numbers whose sum, right? So sum means to add. Right, so we're looking for, that means to add. So we're looking for two numbers that add up to a -6, and then we kind of have a menu or a list of choices here. And I will tell you that there's actually more than one possible answer in here. So I think we just start, maybe even just kind of forget about the negative for a second. You know, just think about the kinds of things that maybe add up to 6. And I'm thinking, first thing kind of jumps to my mind would be 2 and 4. But I noticed that the signs, that wouldn't work out. But another way you could add up to 6 would be, let's try -1 and -5. So if I tried -1 plus a -5, I get a -6. The explain your answer, we looked at a couple different ways that you could prove this. One visual way is that if I said that I had one negative, and then I had 5 more negatives, 3, 4, 5, then what do I have? Well, I've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a total of 6 negatives. We've used a sports analogy, which is that there being two teams. There's a positive team and then there's a negative team. So what this tells me is the negative team scored 1 point, then the negative team scored 5 more points. So if I said who won the game, well, the negatives won the game because they scored all the points, right? Positives didn't score anything. And then how many points did they win by? Well, they scored a total of 6 points, right? So that's where we get the -6 from. Another visual way to look at this, and again, I'm throwing a couple different things out at you, not to confuse you, but just so that you kind of have a couple different ways that you could think about this. Another way that you could think about it is traveling on this number line down here. If the first number says start at -1, so I start here at -1, right, from 0. I'm going left 1, and I'm going to the left, right, because it's a negative. And then this says go 5 more to the left. Well, if I went 5 more to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, now I'm at -6. So this was where I went another 5 to the left. What's the rule? Right, so I haven't mentioned anything about a rule yet. What's the rule for this? Well, the rule is that same signs add and keep, right? Sometimes that gets abbreviated just to SAC. Same signs, right, because they're both negatives, same signs. Add, okay, so 1 plus 5 is 6. And then keep, you keep the sign that they both have. So same signs add and keep. Same signs, add, 1 plus 5 is 6. Keep the sign they both have, which is a negative. So that's where we get a -6. By the way, I did mention that there was one other possibility on this one. So we kind of showed the different ways that we could think about -1 plus -5 making a -6. Let's go back here and take a look at maybe another way that we could have done that. That you're certainly not required. You don't have to do both. But if maybe you saw something, maybe -1 plus -5 wasn't the first thing that you saw. So this is definitely -1 and -5 are a possibility. Let me show you the other possibility. Another possibility could have been -8 plus 2, right? So another possibility could have been -8 plus 2. So -8 plus 2 would also give you a -6. How could I have shown that? Well, a couple different ways I could have shown that. That says there's 8 negatives, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 positives. And then each positive and negative cancel each other out, and I look at what's left over, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So one way that I could get negative 6. Another way that we could look at it is that if we talked about our scoreboard here, so if we did another scoreboard example, this says that negative scored 8 and the positive scored 2. So the negatives won because they scored more points, and they beat the positives by, right, the difference between the two numbers there would be 6. So another way that we could get our negative 6. And then this kind of takes us into our kind of second rule for this, which is different sign subtract. Right, so we're going to say different sign subtract, and then we're going to keep the sign of the bigger. So we're going to keep sign of the bigger. So for instance, on this one, different sign subtract, so 8 minus 2 is 6, keep the sign of the bigger, which is negative 6. Right? And then if we wanted to look at that on the number line, negative 8, that says start at negative 8 on the number line, and then a positive 2 would tell me to go 2 to the right, and so I end up at negative 6. So just wanted to give you a couple different ways that you could think about that. Just pick one that makes sense to you. But again, just a couple different ways to look at that one. All right, so go ahead and pause the video now and try 1.2 on the right side.